So this is the kind of the great essential teaching that was established by the Lord Buddha so long ago in India. And it's a truth that isn't a matter of time or culture anymore. It's not about ancient India or Asian culture. It's about the way it is. And that way it is the same for all of us. I mean, the conditions change, cultural attitudes, habits, modern, ancient, advanced, backward, primitive, or whatever the conditions of the world might be. The awakened consciousness is the way out. It is the only possible way of resolving conflict and realizing the Dhamma, or the truth, ultimate truth. So this is, and now this was in the Buddhist teaching, the Four Noble Truths. This is a very profound teaching, even though it sounds simple enough, Four Noble Truths and so forth. It's not a matter of thinking or analyzing, but it's like a map. It's a good road map. If you use it for traveling on, then you can observe. You get to the goal. You realize the truth. Because the truth is reality itself. It's not an abstract kind of metaphysical, philosophical, ideal truth. But this awakened state is ignored, not recognized, not appreciated. And at this time, in modern societies such as this one, the suffering that we have and the endless conflicts and problems that we have with ourselves, within our relationships, within our families and society, internationally, wherever. It's because this reality has never been fully recognized, never appreciated. So it is a matter of kind of trying to convert or convince or dominate another group. Where the Buddha's teaching isn't about converting anyone to becoming a Buddhist. The Buddha was not a Buddhist. And he didn't teach Buddhism. He taught Dhamma. Now this is very important because there's so many different Buddhist traditions now and different Buddhist conventions. And of course in a country like this it gets very confusing because there's so many books written, there's so many, so much available, so much information, translations from various Buddhist schools and traditions, not to mention all the other religions and philosophies now are available in libraries, in bookshops, internet. I'm on the internet, and I have nothing to do with this. I don't know how to do this. But if you do it, somebody say Sumedho, you'll find all kinds of things about me. I hope they're all right. But what the Buddha was pointing at was not conventional Buddhism, but at Dhamma, or the way it is, or the truth. Here and now, it's a timeless, it's a kalika. Akaliko Dhamma means timeless, apparent here and now. It's the awakened consciousness that each individual human being is capable of recognizing. It's not something you get. It's just like waking up. You suddenly know you're awake. Well, you might be in a dream, you're sleeping and dreams can seem very real, as you're being chased by a raging tiger. And then you wake up and, it's only a dream. Well, we think we're awake all the time, even when we're not asleep. But recognize that humanity is conditioned. We're very conditioned by culture, by social attitudes, by class identities, by identities with the gender of the body, with our language, with everything. It's all conditioned. We acquire it after we're born. When you're born, you don't have any perceptions of yourself as an individual person, as a male or a female, as a European or an Asian, or anything. You're conscious. There's consciousness, and that consciousness is experienced through the form, the physical body. And that's Dhamma, that's the way it is. And then after, of course, we're born, then we get conditioned. You are a little boy, and you're an American, and your name is Robert. That's what my mother said. And you're a Christian, and you have to be baptized. And so I went through the whole conditioning process, because this was the conditioning you're an American. You're an American boy. And on like this, it was some of us very good. I'm not complaining. But to recognize the conditioning of how strong this conditioning is, and how blinding it is, and how, as long as we are attached to any condition whatsoever, without seeing that, we're going to suffer. Even when we've got the best conditions, even if we're born into wealth, beauty, good fortune, it's still conditioning. So in my experience in Thailand with Luang Por Chah was like seen through this conditioning. Because it was very much reflected in the Thai culture. Because here I was 32 years old, learning a different conditioning. Different language. It wasn't so easy to learn Thai language, like English I learned when I was a baby. 32 years old, I had to struggle with the Thai language. So I did learn to speak it adequately, but it's still conditioning. Even becoming a monk, a Buddhist monk, a Theravadan monk, or whatever, this is all convention. Now the Buddha was not trying to erase convention or destroy the world, but the Buddhist teaching is all about understanding, awakened attention, understanding the way it is. And so this has no conceptual form, It's intuitive. It's intelligent. It's universal intelligence. It's not cultural learning. It's not knowledge you gain from teachers or scriptures. It's not acquired knowledge. It's not biased by any cultural attitudes or religious attitudes. So what the Buddha is actually doing is awakening, a teaching to help us, to encourage us to awaken and understand, observe, recognize. Then this is done not through the intellect anymore, but through the intuition, the wisdom faculty. So this word panya, or wisdom, panya translates as wisdom in English. This is the discerning ability that we tune into through awareness. And this is the liberation, is this intuition, this sati sampajanya, sati panya, knowing reality the way it is. Now this cannot, in the Buddhist terms, as long as you use language, it's going to divide things up. Because language and the intellect are conditions of the mind that divide everything. They discriminate. Like language itself is that you've got good, you've got bad, you've got right, there's wrong, there's heaven, and then there's hell, there's God, there's the devil, and you've got one, you've got the other, you've got the positive and the negative. Now this is how the thinking mind is. That's its limitation. As long as one is attached to the intellect, to the thinking process, and doesn't realize recognize the suffering of that attachment, then we live in a world of, which is divisive, is divided. We're dividing it inside ourselves. There's always me and you, and then there's right and wrong. In religion, it's easy to get very righteous. You can get very conceited about keeping the vinaya and things like this. You can get very righteous and about our group, our form of Buddhism, and so forth. And we can form conceits and that reinforce the ego and the sense of a self through attaching to the Buddhist conventions. But recognize that this is not what the Buddha was pointing to. Was not becoming a Buddhist, not trying to make yourself into some ideal, or trying to always try to control everything and try to fight against evil forces, but to recognize, to awaken and recognize conditioned phenomena